3FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. And my first big question of the day is, did she marry her brother or not? Because I'm tired of these headlines that keep coming out. And, you know, it's on my social media feed for a little while, and then it'll go away. And then it'll be back on my social media feed, and then it'll go away. And the headlines, you've at least seen the headlines, if not clicked through and read some of the stories, but it's all the same stuff. Well, we have here more proof that she married her brother. Here's the marriage certificate. Here is people who know her. And so the big rumors came out, and I really started taking it serious when this report came out in the Daily Mail in 2020. And they talked to, I think it was 3 different friends of hers that she had known from the past, and they had all revealed, you know, the truth. She was married to this one guy, and then she divorced him and married this other guy, but there was no ceremony. There was nobody there. None of her friends even knew about it until it was reported in the media later. And so some people that know her and knew her knew what was going on, and they've told reporters over and over. Well, now we have another report coming from the same guy who broke the story. So, you know, he's all over this, and good for him. His name's Martin Gould from the Daily Mail. Well, now we have another guy that stepped forward. I guess they used to be friends, and now they're not anymore. And he's saying she has literally told me herself that she married her brother in order to get him into the country, get him a work visa, and let him be here legally. So now what are we going to do about it? The question is, I don't know if we can do something about it, but this is such a wild story. Because I gotta admit, when I first heard this story, I was like, no way that's true. That's dumb. We don't have to come up with stupid rumors and make up things about our political opponents just so people won't like them. We're above that. I'm not going to play that game. Well, now we have an issue here, because if this turns out to be true, then we have a woman in Congress who defrauded our own immigration system. We have a woman in Congress. So the consequences are the interesting conversation to have with you. If we can prove this, and again, I don't know if we can. The database capabilities of Somalia are quite suspect. But does she get kicked out of office? Does she go to jail? Does she lose her citizenship? Does she be denaturalized? Does she have to go back to Somalia or somewhere else, or Canada, for all I care? This is a wild story. I can't believe this is happening. I can't, because if this is true, again, I have to do it 1,000 times. If this is true, this is the wildest story I think we've heard in our life about a congressperson. And we've heard some wild stuff. So it's not just me. Let's review the record. I'm going to play you this guy from Newsmax just yesterday.
So here's our question tonight. Once again, we have this rumor that's been out there for years that Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar allegedly, reportedly married her brother to get him into the country from Somalia, which is a federal crime. Now, she's denied the rumor, but not really. And does anyone else think that it's just a little strange? No press conference with her brother, denying the rumors, no documentation, nothing. Very odd. It's also very strange that we still have no idea how Ilhan Omar got all that money. How did she get all that money? A Somalian refugee in the 90s. In 2020, her net worth was right around $65,000. Today, it's over $30 million. It's also strange that she created a program called Feeding Our Future, which mysteriously was robbed of $250 million by Somalian refugees from Ilhan Omar's district. That program lost $250 million, and now Ilhan Omar is worth $30 million. Again, the program lost $250 million, and now Ilhan is worth $30 million. Does anyone else think that's just a wild coincidence? We don't.
It's reasonable to believe people capable of some great fraud in one area of life would also be capable of great fraud in other areas of life. And I really like when people ask that question. How do these congressmen make so damn much money? What was it, her husband? Because we're supposed to have all these rules and these laws and these like little ethical policies. You're supposed to report your income. People go to jail for campaign finance violations, for little tic-tacky paperwork violations. It's supposed to be something real serious. Yet why is AOC worth millions of dollars now? Why is Nancy Pelosi? Well, she actually married into money too. Why is Ilhan Omar? She's really worth $30 million. Her husband didn't go make $30 million in the last 5 years. She went from $65,000 of net worth in 2020 to $30 million now. Someone is stealing. And someone may have married their brother. Do you think she married her brother? Because it's crazy if it's true. I don't know if I even want it to be true, but it's not like that. It's not like the gross sort of thing. It was just a paperwork crime to thwart our immigration system. What a stain this story will be if it turns out to be true. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. All right, we're in the middle at the last day of the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. We're in the last day of the donation phase. And in fact, we have at the end of the hall some of the toys, I think maybe all the toys that have been donated thus far. And it's just a mountain. You people did great with the donations, but they already have them split up. They're splitting them up like this is the kindergarten pile. This is the first grade pile. It's so cute. But donations can be used right now to go fill in the things on the Christmas list that didn't get donated already. And I'm not asking for much. And look, if it's taking you this long to donate, you've probably had a tough year. Totally understand. What about $20? Can you do $20? And I made it real easy. Go to WBAP.com. There's a link in the headline rotator. You can go to the WBAP app. There's a link on the front screen there. Or you can text the word kids, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. All right, coming up next on The James Show. Did she marry her brother? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. All right, I have receipts now on this story. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. And the internet's buzzing. It's not really that much in the headlines on TV, but on social media, it's been trending hard since the Daily Mail came out with another expose where they're saying, look, we have another source who actually admits to his face that she married her brother. And this is all coming from reporting from the same guy, Martin Gould. He's with the Daily Mail. He's out of Minneapolis, at least when he's writing this, because the headline says Martin Gould in Minneapolis, Minnesota for dailymail.com. But this is a friend that she knew years ago. He knew of another friend who went on to become Ilhan Omar's, air quotes, husband. And then he had heard the rumor that Ilhan Omar and her second husband's name is Ahmed Elmi. He had heard the rumor that they were siblings, but there's no paperwork in war-torn Somalia. It's not really a thing that could even be proven beyond the shadow of a doubt, I guess, unless she just comes out and admits it. So this is as much evidence as you could possibly have. They don't have birth certificates. They don't have a database. They don't even have a 56K modem hooked up to a speak and spell. It's Somalia. She comes from a refugee camp. But this guy tells the Daily Mail that Ilmar told her, am I saying that right? Ilhan told her that she needed to get papers for her brother to go to school. We all thought she's just getting papers to allow him to stay in the country. They didn't know that it was a marriage thing. And now Ilhan Omar is a Muslim. She got married in a Muslim ceremony to her first husband. And after this second husband happened, she still had another kid with the first husband. And we think was just living with him the entire time. Technically, the second marriage was a Christian ceremony, which is what it would look like if you just went to the Justice of the Peace, said, what do we have to say to get the paperwork done? Okay, fine. Stamp it. I'll say it. Let's go. But there was no party. There was no mention. The friends, the family, the rest of the community doesn't even know she has a second husband. In fact, some of the people that are cited in this article didn't even know until after the media told them. So we now have another one of these friends coming forward saying, not only do I know about this shady marriage situation, she actually told me to my face. So it's not just me. So when you hear people say this, like Larry Elder.
Can I start out with this business about the Daily Mail article saying that Ilhan Omar did in fact marry her brother in a scheme to make him become a U.S. citizen and make him eligible for student loans? Okay. Headline, Daily Mail. Exclusive, Ilhan Omar did, and did is in big bold letters because there were lots of rumors, did marry your brother. And guess who the source is? A Somali leader, a respected leader of the Somali community, has come forward and said that she told him she married her brother.
So I thought people that were saying that were crazy. I think I owe some people an apology because I'm starting to be one of them now. But also, let's not stop there. Let's not say, ooh, we busted her. She married your brother for paperwork. Because, this isn't an incest thing. This is an immigration fraud thing. So shouldn't she be kicked out of Congress? Shouldn't she be charged for the felonies that she committed? Should she be stripped of her citizenship and sent home? This rabbit hole can go really deep. And if it's true, we need to go down it. Daryl and McGregor, you're on WBAP.
Yeah, I think they ought to get a warrant and check their DNA. That'd prove it for sure.
Oh, that's a good idea. Because Daryl, one of the odd aspects a lot of us have recognized about this is she hasn't had like a press conference with this second husband and said, see, this isn't my brother. She she only answers the rumor if she's directly asked, and then it's usually a dodge. Hey, I heard you married your brother. It's like, well, yeah, I heard you voted for a pedophile. That's usually the comeback there. So she even acts kind of suspicious about it.
Well, it's also bigamy then too. She has two husbands.
Well, technically, she divorced the first one, but she continued to live with him and had another kid. And Weirdly enough, I think isn't that the original husband? Isn't that a white guy? Isn't that a? Thank you. You're bringing up good points, Daryl. The paternity test, the DNA test, it would prove. Yeah, she could shut everybody up right now if she just did what Daryl and McGregor said. Hey, you ever go to the coffee shop cafe, McGregor?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, get Valerie's pies.
all the time.
Valerie's pies are the jam. Tell Donald I said hi. So I love this story now. I've become a believer, and I kind of want it to be true just because it's such a weird story. But who can deny it now? Another weird story. Jingle Bells is racist. You hear about this? Harris Faulkner, Fox News.
Jingle Bells is a classic Christmas carol to most of us. Our kids learn how to sing it. It's awesome, right? Well, according to Joy Reid, remember her? She says that the beloved holiday tune is racist. That far-left liberal host shared this video on Instagram, which claims, quote, Jingle Bells was written by a Confederate soldier making fun of black people. Charles, did you know? I didn't know. That claim stems from a paper called The Story I Must Tell, Jingle Bells in the Minstrel Repertoire, which tracked the origin of the song all the way.
All right, these people are just miserable. You see racism in Jingle Bells? Just look at the lyrics. It's about being dragged around in a sleigh by some horse. I've never been in a sleigh in my life. I'm not even sure if I've even seen a sleigh with my own eyes. Like, like one that you sit in that a horse would tote around. Dashing through the snow, one horse open sleigh, o'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. What do you think? We're chasing runaway slaves here? That's what you hear? Your worldview just makes you miserable, doesn't it? And if you're wondering, well, how do they make that connection? I'll just play you a viral video from just some rando explaining this on X.
Did you know the real Jingle Bells was not about bells? It was about slaves escaping.
Yeah, sure.
Did you know that? So the original Jingle Bells was named One Horse Open Sleigh. It was written by this over here, James Pierpoint. And according to an academic paper, the Christmas carol Jingle Bells has racist origins. The song was first performed in blackface in a minstrel show in Boston in 1857. What is a minstrel show? Minstrel show is a popular form of entertainment in the 19th and 20th century which shows artists performing in blackface. Like this over here, where white people dressed up like black people and pretended they were stupid and lazy and did stupid things, and it was funny for them, you understand? Jingle Bells in particular was a funny one, but you had to do with slaves escaping.
Okay, these people are miserable. Like, if this is your worldview, doesn't that ruin Christmas for you? It's Jingles Bells racist. 800-288-9227. What other Christmas carols are racist? We'll go through that next on the James Show. I've got some ideas for you. I do like this version of Jingle Bells here, though, the Desi version of it. First time I heard it, I was like, what is this abomination? 10th time I heard it, I'm like, I want to hear this again.
Open sleigh, aye, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it's to ride in a
Racist Christmas carols next on the James Show. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Is Jingle Bells racist? What a fun viral trending topic is being had on social media right now. And this comes up every once in a while. And there are people out there who can see racism in anything. They can see racism in Jingle Bells. They can see racism in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They can see racism in a Sydney Sweeney ad about blue jeans. But if you're just joining us, here's one of the viral videos that some very prominent people in the media have supported.
Did you know the real Jingle Bells was not about bells? It was about slave escaping. Did you know that? So the original Jingle Bells was named...
I can't do it. I can't do it. He goes to this whole thing about how it was in a minstrel show. Man, that ideology just sucks the fun out of so much stuff. Like, you can't go to a comedy show. Like, if you get so offended at everything, that has to be a miserable existence. If you want to go home and lecture your dad over Thanksgiving dinner about politics, you do not have your head screwed on straight. Again, no, I don't think Jingle Bells is racist. I think the lyrics are self-evident. You can recite them in your head and be like, yeah, no racism here. And you're like, well, James, you can't just be that shallow. Actually, it is that simple. It really is that simple. But I was thinking, if this is the way you see the world, then we need to can you refocus your brain and put yourself in their shoes and try and maybe we're just missing it. Maybe we're just a little slow on the uptake. You should go back and you should reevaluate these other Christmas carols, make sure they're not racist too. Because if I think like them, if I try and put myself in their world view, I can be a little more empathetic and actually see what they're talking about. Because when I go through and look at the Christmas carols, some things pop out at me. Number one, Silent Night. I saw a guy online that said that's about being quiet in theaters. And I was like, that's unacceptable. No, sir, that's racism. We don't accept that on the James Show. So I'm going to have to go back and review Silent Night. That's not what I think it means. I think the lyrics are pretty self-evident in that one too, but I can see why people would find offense to that. Saw another guy on X that was offended because little drummer boy, he's a poor kid and he likes to make beats. Clearly, they're making fun of black kids. Again, they're targeting vulnerable populations, minorities that have been historically disadvantaged and making fun of them through Christmas carols. It's totally insidious. We have a very corrupt society going on here. Underneath a Tree, it's even a modern song. It's even Kelly Clarkson, and I love Kelly Clarkson. But for some people, they may see that as a dog whistle, like, the tree, like nooses, like lynching, like, haha. Is that what they're doing? Because then if that's the case, and I'm totally against that song too, we've got to stop that. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Boughs, you know what a bough is? It's a branch. So there you go. Tree branches again. Everything. They're right. Everything is racist in Christmas. Oh my God. Did you even know that there's a song called White Christmas? Oh God. My horn section is getting tired over there. They're running out of breath. Is there a Black Christmas? No? Oh, you just think that's coincidence or racism? All I want for Christmas is you. If you have this sort of mindset and you could see racism in Jingle Bells, wouldn't you see this? Like, what is this? Is this about a lady shopping at a slave market? All I want for Christmas is you. Is she going to buy a human being? Because I would be against that if that was the case. Mariah Carey, shame on you. I can't believe you sang that nasty song. And so what does that make Santa Claus? Santa Claus, how can you make something bad out of him? Because, I mean, if you really want to break it down, he's St. Nicholas, but he's not the St. Nicholas from, the old ancient Greece or medieval Greece or whatever. When was he, like 300? No. They've replaced him. See, the evil Western European white guy has colonized Christmas. And instead of making it a Mediterranean guy, they made it this white guy with gray hair, and they've given him a Danish name. And what does he do? He goes out at night with his reindeer on a sleigh. You know who else went out on a sleigh at night in the wintertime? Slave patrols. Santa Claus is an avatar for slave patrols. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to see the world from their viewpoint. And so then once you see that, it ruins everything. because, up on the housetop, that's Santa Claus. Sleigh patrols. No, not sleigh patrols. He's making a list, checking it twice. Who would do that? Sleigh patrols. And then, what does that make mommy kissing Santa Claus? Well, clearly, that means your mom likes sleigh patrols. Christmas is ruined. This worldview I don't like this worldview at all. I don't agree with any of those interpretations of Christmas carols. It's ridiculous. Gary Bob in Newark. You're on WBAP.
Yeah, James, thanks for taking my call. I wonder if I'm dreaming of a white Christmas might be racist also. I've heard that Christmas carol all my life that was dreaming of a white Christmas.
Well, a lot of people don't know about the third verse where you go get some jeans at a American Eagle or what was the Sydney Sweeney ad? I almost had a good punchline.
Well, she's got good genes.
Oh no, you made it. You're a Nazi. Clearly, Gary. Thank you, Gary Bob.
Well, that's okay. I'm married to her, so that's okay. I can say that I want to. Just don't tell my wife.
Here's a dirty little secret. Garrett says Sydney Sweeney, not that hot.
No, I didn't say that.
No, that's what Garrett said. Guy on the other side of the glass. The host of the hot.
He's crazy.
He is crazy. But
I don't care what he's talking about. Me and Casey, he's married to. Good grief, to Carrie Underwood. And, lucky me, I got Sydney Sweeney. So
well, good job, Gary Bob.
Real good,
yeah, good Christmas for you. All right, I'm going to squeeze another call here. Brian, Saginaw, you're on WBAP. Go.
Hey, yeah, so it's all insanity. It's like, you remember way back when they took Baby It's Cold Outside off of radios? Because it's about, we're using a TikTok word, date grape. So,
Right.
It's just, like, they're all insane, man.
Well, they did.
I don't listen to any of it. Plus, I'm a Gen Xer.
Right. We don't get offended about it. We grew up on Two Live Crew. You can't offend me. Thank you very much. That's Brian in Saginaw. All right. So, yeah, we solved that mystery. Jingle bells, not racist. I did some investigation. Did not see racism. There, problem solved. Coming up next on The James Show, we're going to see what Jasmine Crockett, what did she say this time? It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We got to remind you of the Cumulus Kids Toy Drive, 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. And I'm not going to be bugging you about it anymore. This is the last day that you can step up and make a donation because they've already gathered up a bunch of the toys in the conference room here on the fifth floor of our palatial studios. But monetary donations are still needed. We have these angels. I don't even know who these people are, but these volunteers have just showed up and they're sorting all the toys into grade level. And we're sending some out to go do some shopping to fill in the items on the list that weren't donated. And some of it, it's kind of sad. Socks. Did you ever ask for socks when you were a kid for Christmas? So that's what we're doing here. And I know you don't have a lot to give. I know you didn't win the lottery and this hasn't been a banner year for you. But can you spare $20? Go to WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or text the word KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. It's not a very Merry Christmas for some woke people who see racism in everything. And from this side of the microphone, it is hilarious. We were just having a good time with the viral, debate. There's some people out there who think Jingle Bells is racist. And of all the songs to get offended by, like, that's the most innocuous, vanilla, safe Nerf song out there, you would think. So we were just having fun talking about how that ruins all these other songs, like, oh my God, White Christmas, and Santa's probably in the sleigh patrols and all kinds of other punchlines here. But Sean said, I'll be home for Christmas is also racist because it's a dad talking to his family, and now you're making fun of him for not having a dad at home. And if that's the interpretation, that's wrong. I do not like that interpretation at all. I don't agree with that joke. Sean, you're a terrible person. And y'all can stop saying White Christmas. I already did that one like 10 times. Ken in Arlington, you're on WBAP.
Hey, with those song guidelines, wouldn't Deep Purple's Smoke on the Water, Prince's Purple Rain, and Clapton's Cocaine be promoting drug use?
I don't even know what Purple Rain's about. Like, I've heard that song 10,000 times in my life. I don't even know what it's. What is that about? What's it about? Tell me.
I'm thinking that maybe Prince was in one of his stupor of drug use and saw Purple Rain coming down. That's the only thing I could think out of that.
Why don't I know this? I feel like I should know the answer to that. What the heck is Purple Rain about? Because it's not about. We know what it's not about. It's not about purple rain. We know he's not talking about rain falling from the sky that's purple. Is that a drug reference?
Well, I don't know, but everything that is surrounding Prince is purple.
Fair enough.
Except for the little red Corvette. I mean, except for the little red Corvette, everything in his life was purple.
All good points. Thank you very much. That's Ken in Arlington. Ken, thank you very much. I wanted to do some Jasmine Crockett. I'm kind of running out of time here, so let me just cram it in there. In her speech, and she does this in interviews too, there will be just a regular conversation, and she'll just steer it right into race, and just out of nowhere.
Like, I went back to the Obama moments when in my speech, because I thought about the fact that his slogan was, yes, we can, because everybody said what he couldn't do.
Say, yes, we can. Does that sound like it has any racial connotations whatsoever? So it's the same thing like the Jingle Bells people. It's kind of why I'm tacking it on the end of this segment.
Everybody said what we couldn't do. No, 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 no. Right. And so it's like, all right, even the people on our side are like, now you ain't got no data. You ain't got no nothing. You just operating on feelings. And it's like, well, it can't be a black woman. You know, we've seen things like people saying, well, I mean, we saw what happened to Kamala.
Yeah. Find me one person that said I didn't vote for Kamala because she's black, or I didn't vote for Obama because she's black. I mean, maybe they exist, but I mean, is it anybody on TV? Is it anybody on the radio? Is it anybody in an elected position anywhere? Is it anybody who's a writer or has any influence whatsoever? Can you even find a mentally ill, screaming homeless person that says that? Where does this mentality come from? 800-288-9227. I doubt you have an answer for that, but the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. We're in our final day. Thank you very much. And be a part of it. Go to WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or text the word KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. Coming up next on The James Show, a roadside memorial in Plano has disappeared. Should it have? I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, Merry Christmas, fellow Texans. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. Hey, I know, good to see you too. Calm down. Is it because it's Friday? All right, this is kind of a touchy subject for some people. If I had fully developed adult emotions, this would probably be touchy for me as well. Because I see this as cut and dry, but I understand that there's an emotional element to it. When we talk about the roadside memorials, WFAA has this story out of Plano.
This is where her son, 15-year-old, died in a car accident last year.
This was pretty much the last place he took his last breath.
And right here is where his loved ones built a memorial.
I don't know who would sit here and
that's now been removed.
Be so hurtful to take a memorial of somebody.
But it's someone's house. It looked like it was at someone's house. And on this, memorial situation, do you have the right to stick a memorial wherever, your loved one passed away on the side of the road? Do you have that right? I mean, and I kind of asked that as a rhetorical question. But if you have any stories about this, 800-288-9227. I was listening to Casey this morning. He's like, when did we start doing this? Like in the 80s? In the probably late 80s, early 90s? I thought we did this for all time. I don't remember a time not seeing roadside memorials. So if that's kind of new, that was news to me that I learned right here on WBAP. But there's the classic, philosophical argument of, well, if it's not your property, you can't just stick signs wherever you want. You just can't go into someone else's property. There's the sort of gray area where, it's kind of public property if it's the road, especially if it's between the sidewalk and the road. Doesn't the city or the county or the state or whoever have easement rights or whatnot? Well, then the question shifts pretty easily. All right. Are you allowed to put memorials in public right-of-way spaces? I think the answer to all of these is no. I think your exception is you go to the people who own the property. You ask them if you can put up a memorial. If they're not jerks, or if it's not going to be something that, causes them any negative consequences, I expect them to say yes. And then you just agree, look, we'll leave this up for a month, 2 months, 6 months, a year, but let's put a time limit on it. Because every once in a while you see those roadside memorials that have been there for a long time and it's in the middle of nowhere and it's just trash now. It's, been rained on so many times you can't even read it. That happens. But look, if you put up a memorial in the road, I don't hate you. You're probably a grieving parent going through the worst thing anyone could possibly go through. You get a lot of latitude. You're not a bad person. But the expectation that someone's not going to immediately come behind you and pick it up or throw it away, that's just not real either. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm kind of interested. Can someone confirm? Was that a recent development? Did y'all not do roadside memorials in the 60s and 70s? I know some of y'all remember. Sean doesn't remember because he wasn't born yet. But I didn't know that was a relatively new thing. I could probably remember the first one I saw, when you pay attention to the outside world. It kind of happens when you just get tall enough to see over the window. And so by the time I was that tall, I think roadside memorials were already a thing. Man, doesn't it break your heart to hear that mom? She lost her kid on a bicycle, got hit by a truck. She had a memorial right there. But, I also feel like so many of these problems could be avoided. Lady, if it's at a dude's house, can't you just knock on the door and be like, listen, my kid died. You mind if I put a memorial here? Make them say no to your face. Make them be an absolute monster. Because you would have to be just pretty gutless and heartless to do that. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. The other local story that's getting a lot more play than I expected was another one of these reports, and this isn't just about Grand Prairie. This is happening in Grapevine, Colleyville, and about 8 other school districts around here that are closing schools.
Grand Prairie this morning, parents are waking up to learn the district could close 3 schools. Delmas Morton Elementary, Travis World Language, and Dickinson Elementary School are all on the line in order to save money. The district is facing a $17.5 million deficit. The district plans to meet with parents before having another boundary meeting early next year.
This should be a bigger story because the reason why we keep having to close schools in certain districts is really down to we're not having enough children. You understand that? We are in a population decline. Isn't it crazy how so many of these environmental groups and animal rights groups and science groups will get so concerned about the population of some minnow you've never heard of? Oh, it's in decline. We're going to run it into extinction on a long enough time scale. We've got to not build this dam or not develop this property or not drill for this oil or whatever. Human population declining. It's like, whatever. That's a failed system. That's a failed biological system. If you cry about the declining population of tigers, you cry about the declining population of rhinoceros or elephants, human beings, whatever. It's just us. We're just humans. What do you think happened to all these societies that you see on old maps that aren't there anymore? Gary, Fort Worth, you're on WBAP. Hey, Gary.
Hey, brother. People don't understand death is the problem. They think that body is the person.
Oh, you're talking about the memorial?
Yeah. The body goes to dirt no matter what. You just wait long enough. So I don't want people putting a memorial where I died. I want to put a memorial where I lived, where I did something, we're so screwed up in this country because people don't understand death and how it works and that our soul lives forever. God of the living, not of the dead.
I like the way you think, Gary. Well, look, I have all kinds of grace for someone who lost a kid. I'm not going to criticize this lady for doing the memorial. And apparently enough people do it that some people must think that that's a good way, or it must help in some way with them. But yeah, I like the idea. Don't put it where I died. Put it where I live. Go put it in front of my house in Bug Tussle where no one will see it. All right. Thank you very much, Gary. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Coming up next, you're going to hear a Carolyn Levitt White House press conference crash out. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're in the last day here. This is it. This is the last day of the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. I don't even want your presents anymore. I just need a donation. And you've put it off to the last day, and you can't put it off past today. So if you have any heart left and maybe $20 left, can you help us out? We're going to send people this weekend to go buy the items that were on the list that didn't get donated. That's what your donation is going for. Then we're going to sort it all out. We're going to take it to 2 schools, one in Fort Worth, one in Dallas. And we're going to make sure these young elementary kids have a Christmas that they wouldn't have without you. So go to WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or text KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the James Show on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Your home for not only the James Show and Garrett's World, but also the Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins Show. They're on from 11 to. Fun guys having a fun time with the headlines. Check them out if you don't love them already. And yes, Garrett's World is coming up in, what is that, like 10, 20 minutes? 15 minutes-ish. So stick around for that. You'll get to dig into the brain of the guy on the other side of the glass, and it's usually a pretty fun ride. Now, I'm going to cut through the meat of the press conference that happened at the White House and just play you the crash out version. So I'll tell you the context, though, so I don't have to play you 4 minutes of audio. Carolyn Levitt comes out to speak to the press, and everyone she calls on is asking about the economy. And they all seem to be centered around this one poll that came out that says majority of people are not happy with the economy, or they don't think the economy is on the right track, or whatever the specific wording was. It was negative about the economy. So first person comes out, asks a question about that poll. And it's just, specious at best, because who cares what they really think? Most of the people just believe whatever they see on TV. And if you have like a 90% negative news coverage on the economy, that's what you're really polling. You're not polling on whether or not the president's doing a good job handling the economy or whether the economy itself is doing well. What you're really polling for is how effective has the media propaganda about the economy sunk in. And so it's just exhausting to be answering these questions to begin with. And so a few minutes into it, all the questions are about this. Not about war with Venezuela, not about ICE deportations, not about, what is the actual unemployment rate? What is the actual inflation rate? What is, better or worse? It's just all about this. People feel like the economy. How can you say he's doing a good job when people feel like they aren't? It's so subjective. And so with that, I just saved you about 4 minutes of lead up on this, and this is where she just crashes out. And she's like, you people don't believe me? Then why are you here?
We believe that number is going to continue to decline, especially as energy and oil prices continue to decline as well.
It wasn't high under Biden. They're just saying it's not.
Well, nobody reported on it being high under Biden. My predecessor was standing at this podium, but now you want to ask me a lot of questions about it, which I'm happy to answer. But I will just add, there's a lot more scrutiny on this issue from this press corps than there was. Well, and the previous administration said that too. My predecessor stood up at this podium and she said inflation doesn't exist. She said the border was secure, and people like you just took her at her word, and those were two utter lies. Everything I'm telling you is the truth, backed by real factual data, and you just don't want to report on it because you want to push untrue narratives about the president. Go ahead. I'm not going to take your phone. Go ahead.
I'm not going to take your. I love that. I've been thinking about this. Chris Putnam, friend of the show at the Dallas Express, he has a White House press pass, and he was there for all of last week or week before last, and he got to call in a bunch. And I was talking to him outside the show, and even during the show, this came up a couple times, where he said, James, you just won't believe how unrepentantly polarized to the left this White House press corps is. They don't even have any sort of semblance of balance. All of their reporting is literally what can I tell the American people that will hurt Trump the most? What can I tell the American people that will make Trump look the worst? And so a lot of people focus on Trump derangement syndrome. It's not Trump derangement syndrome. And it's not that when did the press get this bad? Here's the dirty little secret. The press has always been this bad. There's just been a little bit of time between them reporting on George W. Bush and them now. But they were saying the same things about him. They were saying he was literally Hitler. They were calling him the R word all over the place because you didn't get in trouble for saying the R word back then. He's helping the billionaires and hurting poor people to give tax cuts to his rich friends. He's an oil man who invaded a country to steal the oil. They said the same things about Ronald Reagan, corporate puppet. I could play the old Bill Hicks rant on Ronald Reagan. It's pretty awful. They say this about every Republican president. And why is that important? Because it belays to the people who are doubting out there, the people who are like, is he really Hitler, or do you just say this about everybody? They just say this about everybody. Oh, so you don't mean it. No, they don't mean it. And so like this press crash out, it feels like it's about Trump. It feels like everything they're doing is about Trump. But Trump is the avatar that they have to take down. And once they take Trump down, whoever replaces him, whoever they see as their political opponent, is going to get the same treatment. The problem isn't Trump. The problem is those people in the press corps. And I think Trump's been exceptionally nice allowing these people to come back in the press corps. Because you know what I would say? I would have a press conference, and no one consults me on this, so don't expect this to happen. I would have a press conference, and I would say, all right, I'm going to go through your, we're going to re-review everyone's press credentials. If you push masks, if you push the vaccines, if you push lockdowns, you're out. If you were okay with churches being closed during COVID, you are out. There are litmus tests because there's only a select small group of people who can fit in that room. And we need to start picking them based on merit, not based on who they work for. Who gives who they work for if they get everything wrong, if they're just going to be political propagandists, if they're going to be absolute hacks. I mean, these people, 4 minutes of, hey, there's this one poll that makes Trump look as bad as we could possibly find for today. Let's ask 18 questions about that, and all our follow-ups are about it. We're going to argue on numbers. But you're not worried about war with Venezuela? You're not worried about putting boots on the ground in Venezuela? You're not worried about the aircraft carrier group going right outside, parking next to Venezuela? They're shooting drug boats. They seized an oil tanker. But you want to ask about a poll where some people don't feel like Trump's doing a good job in this one small area where he's actually doing pretty good. Amazing. You do not hate these people enough, these journalists. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I don't know how I would fix it, though. Other than, unless you're the president and you go out and you say, listen, all you people got wrong. If you reported Jussie Smollett with a straight face, not only does your reporter lose his press credentials, your whole magazine, your whole newspaper, your whole network, your whole everything, you're out. You have failed. I don't know why he puts up with it now. Look at how quickly we will fire football coaches. Not the Michigan guy. That's a different story. But, the guy goes 6-6 at UT Austin. He's out. 800-288-9227. All right, buckle up, everybody. Garrett's World is next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Merry Christmas. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. The guy on the other side of the glass, the producer for the show, his name's Garrett. He tells weird stories in meetings. I'm like, why don't you just tell some weird stories on my show? And we call it Garrett's World.
So when I was about 10 years old, during 5th grade, Christmas break in 2007, I, my mom, her best friend, Nancy, and her daughter, one of my best friends, Sarah, all went to visit the little town of Bethlehem, a nativity-themed village in Waxahachie designed to resemble the location and time period of Jesus' birth. It was an incredible experience with live animals and time period attractions. Afterwards, we went to go get some ice cream, and speaking of ice, Sarah noticed an ice skating rink nearby. I wasn't all that keen on the idea, as being the only guy in the group, I considered ice skating a girly thing. Plus, I knew for a fact I wasn't that good of a skater. However, I was alone in this because Sarah, Nancy, and my mom all wanted to do it. So, with great despair, I had to go along with it. Once we arrived at the rink, the managers gave us our skates. I was not in a good mood, but my mom kept telling me this would be a great opportunity to learn how to properly skate. Looking back on it, I guess she would have been onto something. If the ice we were skating on was, actual ice, what the place advertised to be an ice skating rink was actually plastic white tiles layered with slippery material to make it appear real. And never mind, it was 85 degrees outside. Even in spite of all this, and through her laughter, my mom still made me get out on the plastic because, according to her, it's close enough. I walked onto the fake ice, and as expected, it was almost impossible to skate on. The tiles were so rough, you could barely move your feet at all. Not to mention the fact that any sense of peace you would normally feel while ice skating was lost, as every 5 seconds, a kid would fall on their butt and start screaming and crying bloody murder. So yeah, not the best way to end an otherwise really good day. I think my mom learned a most important lesson that day. You shouldn't act like real and fake are the same. Real ice says whoosh. Fake ice says good luck, buddy.
Just told a 2-minute story how you went to a fake ice rink. Any stories about people getting arrested? You know any stories about a wild party you went to in college, got a little out of hand? Did you ever go to a college party and you wake up in Shreveport? Damn it. All right, well, fake ice. That'll have to do. That's been today's edition of Garrett's World, the man who's so wholesome it's questionable. How do you do that? It was a rhetorical question, Garrett. See, and Miss Parker says that I should be nicer to you. Like, you pick on Garrett. No, I don't pick on Garrett. This is how men talk to each other when we actually like each other. And I think women, they haven't spent time in locker rooms. They haven't spent time at football practice or soccer practice or hanging out with the boys or whatnot. This is how we talk to each other. I love hanging out with my wife and her friends. They're so nice to each other. They're like, oh, you look beautiful today. I love your earrings. Oh, your dress looks so good. Where'd you get that shirt? Oh, my God, you look so perfect. Oh, you're so beautiful. Oh. Guys are like, you're fat. You're stupid. You're bald. All right, good to see you. Yep, see you tomorrow. And we're best friends. It's different. It's different. If I didn't like Garrett, I would be nice to him. Does that make sense? If I didn't like Garrett, I'd be polite. I'd be like, yes, sir. Thank you very much for today's contribution of Garrett's World. But what I know is that there's a brain somewhere sloshing around in Garrett's head. And these segments are going to get better over time. And in 6 months or a year, when they do get better, and I'll say that they're good and I like them and you did a good job, it will actually mean something. But when you tell somebody it's good no matter what, or that was great, or I'm impressed, or you did a good job, you're not doing them any favors. 800-288-9227. I wanted to float out this viral video. This is a news anchor who is on a TV station, some local TV station somewhere. And the headlines always say a thick news anchor reads comments. And so she is a little overweight, but she's still like a 9 out of 10. She is absolutely beautiful. She's kind of thick. And so she reads them, but she also reads them in her news anchor voice. And this girl cracks me up.
You look like you can turn a wrench.
Wait. Oh.
What does it mean? What does it mean? Big back, kinda cute. More at 5. You are a little big, but kinda cute. Don't laugh. I know about 5 thick news anchors, and she's 3 of them. Sources say there is enough cake for a triplets birthday party, but unfortunately for Josh, he won't be getting a slice. Sorry, Josh, my bad, man. Well, maybe next time. Probably not.
I hope she keeps doing that. That would be a series. I would bring it to you on the James Show every time she puts out a new video. That is absolutely hilarious. Coming up next, the legal analyst of the James Show, Jeremy Rosenthal, is going to explain what went down in Charlie Kirk's alleged killer court appearances this week. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, welcome to the James Show. Merry Christmas. It's News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I am your host, James Parker. My next guest is the unofficial legal analyst of the James Show. I would make it official, but I don't have like a certificate or anything to hand out. It's Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Welcome back, Jeremy. Where'd he go? Come on, I'm playing a sweet bass line from the People's Court. What's going on? Oh, he just fell off. Okay. Well, I was kind of digging that bass line. Because you have a few options here. If you're going to be a radio host that does like a legal segment and you want some themed music to go with it. I was driven. I was torn between this and the Law and Order theme. I don't even know what the CSI theme is. But I'm really behind on my lawyer shows because I don't like forensics. I know most of America does. And I know sometimes when I look at like, what are the top 10 shows in America? Half of them are like a cold case or a Law and Order or some version. I call it Scooby-Doo for adults, where they tell you the story and then you got 30 minutes. Jeepers, I hope we can solve this mystery. That's what they all sound like to me. And I understand you probably like them and I don't get it. And I know that. I just don't have that gene. I don't like this. Like I saw those, I saw some of those shows back in like the 80s and I realized this is just the same show over and over and over. Can't do it. I can't do that. I can't do hospital shows because it's the same thing. Someone comes in, they're sick. What are we going to do? Jeepers, I hope we can solve this mystery just over and over and over. Is he coming back or should I just ditch that? Okay. He's having a technical crash out. We'll get him on the phone then. If you want to call in, 800-288-9227. Because we're going to talk about the Charlie Kirk assassin is in court this week. And this isn't like the trial's happening yet. These are these pre-trial hearings. And this is super important stuff because it determines what evidence they're going to allow into court, what counts, what the jury's going to be allowed to hear and what they're not going to be allowed to hear. And from what I understand, the O.J. Simpson case hung on this hearing. The O.J. Simpson case seems like one of the most cut and dry. If you ever look into it and like what evidence did they have? And you see what all they laid out, you'd say, oh my goodness, of course he's guilty. But when you find out what pieces of evidence from the OJ trial didn't even get to make it into the trial, then you start to understand how a jury could let him go. So now with that, Jeremy Rosenthal, please be there this time or I'm going to be really upset with Garrett.
This wasn't Garrett's fault. How are you?
Okay, good. I'll play the bass line there. Good. I'm doing great. So we're talking about the Charlie Kirk trial or the pre-trial hearing or whatever it's called. And I was under the impression this is when they decide what's going to be allowed as evidence, what's not, and all that stuff, all the rules of the trial. Do I have that correct?
Yeah, they focus mainly on the media and the media's access, and I think they're going to be talking about specific evidence. There's going to be a lot of that, but yeah, it's all preliminary.
So why does the media have access to Johnny Depp's divorce trial, but not the Jeffrey Epstein trials?
You know what? That's because Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, because that stuff matters, and that's really important that we be entertained.
Yeah, well, there's a real answer, like there's no minors or something in it.
Look, it's because each court's different, and it's because that each case is different, and not only that. A criminal trial, you're talking about liberty, and in Johnny Depp's trial, you're really not. You're talking about money. So, you know, the prejudice is going to be a little bit different in each end. And when you're a trial court, what you have to remember is that it's not just about you, and it's not just about the one case that's in front of you at any given time. This judge has to manage a docket of, I'm guessing, 500 people, 1,000 people, something like that. You have to get this trial right. If you don't right, it clogs up your court for everybody, not just you. So you have a vested interest in getting this case right. And if you screw it up, if there's something that's on TV or broadcasted, or if a juror is able to sort of see something that they're not allowed to see, or if the media's access becomes too much of a circus and the defendant gets a new trial, then what you've done is you've made it so much more difficult to manage your docket. So that's a big part of it. And when you're talking about a criminal case, all the constitutional rights that the accused has, it's just a lot more than you would have in Johnny Depp and Amber Heard.
All right. So do we know the results of this trial yet? Do we know if the media is going to have access?
We're going to get another ruling on it on December 29th. The media is going to have some access. There was some debate about certain camera angles. They don't want to show. They don't want to show Tyler Robinson in shackles. They don't want to show him in jail attire. The more and more that they get circulated pictures of him in his jail garb, really the more prejudicial it is. In a jury trial, the jury doesn't know that the defendant a lot of times is in shackles, and a lot of times they're shackled underneath the table. That's why they dress in civilian clothes. It's reversible error for the jury to see an inmate dressed as an inmate. We've tried it. There's been places in this country where we'll just have the trial right there at the jail. That's reversible error. So you do kind of have to manicure the defendant's appearance. That is kind of important.
All right, we're talking with Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com, about the results of some of these pretrial hearings in the Charlie Kirk assassination. I read somewhere that they were going to try to exclude the evidence, the text messages between the alleged shooter and the boyfriend. Do we know much about the evidence that's going to be allowed?
If I'm defending the case, that's exactly where I'm attacking. I'm going to do it just like you're seeing in the Luigi Mangione case. In this case, in that case, you really have overwhelming evidence in either case, right? And if you are trying to figure out a way to defend the case, you begin by sort of isolating and attacking some of these individual pieces of evidence, getting them excluded, and so that when the jury sees it, they don't see those things. So that's exactly what you're going to see attacked. And look, you had a dragnet, right? You had a manhunt. So you're going to have a lot of search warrants, search and seizure issues, electronic evidence. I think that's going to play a big part in this. And yeah, if I'm the defense lawyer, I'm isolating, I'm dividing and conquering a lot of those individual parts, and then I'm kind of seeing, all right, well, what do we got left here? And then we sort of deal with that. So I would anticipate that you're going to see a lot of emphasis on that.
Well, without the communications, do we even have any evidence, or do we have enough evidence to convict this guy? We don't have any video of him taking the shot. We don't have any witnesses to him taking the shot, right?
It makes it harder. It really does. They do have a lot here. They've got the shell casings. They've got some of his online activity. They've got DNA on the weapon, apparently. They've got the prints there. They've got a lot of different stuff. But look, it makes it harder for sure. And that's kind of why, as the defense, that's why you're really kind of hammering down on a lot of those individual things. And the more and more you can eliminate, really, the more options are as far as defensive theories go.
Okay. Well, thanks for breaking all that down. I appreciate your time and keeping up with the case for us. It's the great Jeremy Rosenthal, TexasDefenseFirm.com. Thank you, sir.
Have a great day.
All right, it's the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. This is one of the last times I'm going to mention it until next year. So if you haven't made a donation, go ahead next time you're in front of the computer, or you can do it on your phone right now. Don't procrastinate anymore. This is the last day. Go to WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or text the word KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. The Satch Vi Band featuring Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, Surfing with the Hydra 2026 tour, coming to Music Hall at Fair Park April 17th. Get tickets and information at livenation.com, or you can listen to the WBAP morning show this week to find out how you can win a pair of tickets. I guess that would be next week. Coming up next, the crazy story of this Michigan football coach getting himself arrested. I think it's worse than you think. Find out on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM WBAP. Man, this Michigan coach story is wild. It's the James Show, News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. I'm your host, James Parker. Yada, yada, yada. I did not see this one coming. Sean, where did you find the length of time that they were in a relationship? Because, you know, the more I heard about this story, the more I want to know. And I saw that it was an inappropriate relationship, and then you find out, well, your first question is, well, is he married? Because that makes it even worse. And, well, does he have kids? Yeah, he's got 3 kids. So how long was he in the relationship with her? Was it like a one-time thing? No, you said 2 years? 2 years? Okay. I didn't see that anywhere else. I learned that from Sean Allen on the James Show. So I don't know if you were just listening to the news report. Sean did a good summary there. One of the top schools for you to be a football coach is Michigan. So he's in the elite upper top tier of the college football coaching system. He's making over $6 million a year. So he's rich. He's famous for, you know, the Michigan fandom. If you're in Michigan, he's famous. It's a prestigious job. You know, no one tells him what to do. No one gives him a hard time. He tells a lot of other people what to do. He's treated like an alpha male everywhere he goes. He took that and he threw it all away for an affair. Now, make no bones about it. I don't feel sorry for this guy. These guys that break into your home, these guys that stalk girls, these are the dangerous ones. Because there's only really 2 ways that you get murdered in America in 2025. Is if you're in some sort of criminal organization, probably drugs, but it could be something else. It could be prostitution or gambling. You get rolled up in that. Or it's someone who used to love you who now wants you dead. Those are just about the only 2 ways you hear me talk about murder stories on the James Show. And it never starts with the murder unless you're just an absolute psychopath. So, you know, this guy is 39. If he was just some complete psycho from the get-go, he would have been in jail already. But what you noticed, and you've observed this too, so I'm not teaching you anything, just saying this fits the pattern of the guys whose bad behavior escalates. And while he didn't kill this woman, and he didn't even threaten to kill the woman, he threatened to kill himself, the number of irrational decisions that he is making on the path to being in her kitchen with a couple of butter knives and a pair of scissors, this is the kind of behavior pattern that keeps escalating until he does murder somebody. These people are the ones you need to be looking out for. Stalking is so serious because stalkers are the dangerous ones. I couldn't imagine, as much as I love Miss Parker, I couldn't imagine me thinking, all right, well, she broke up with me. Here's how I'm going to get her back. I'm going to break into her house. The front door was locked, so he went around to the back door after she told him not to come in. Go into the kitchen. I'm going to threaten to kill myself with a pair of scissors and 2 butter knives. Weird. You only have 2 hands. How are you holding 3 things? And then say the blood's going to be on your hands. I just couldn't imagine what scenario, even if she broke up with me, even if she cheated on me, even if she just had one big party with every single one of the Dallas Mavericks, I'd be like, ooh, well, if that's what you want to do, I guess we're done. But these crazy people, this is how it starts to manifest itself. Here's a couple of summaries. WFAA summed it up.
Developing right now, former University of Michigan head football coach Sharon Moore was arrested this week as a suspect in an alleged assault just hours after being fired by the school. Police in Pittsfield Township, Michigan said officers responded to a home to investigate an alleged assault and took a suspect into custody. No details on charges were immediately released, but they said the incident does not appear to be random. Now, earlier in the day, the University of Michigan fired Moore and said he was, quote, engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This announcement stated Moore was terminated immediately with cause.
Men everywhere are just slapping their foreheads. It's like, bro, you have one of the greatest jobs possible. You're only 39 years old. You have a wife and 3 kids at home. You're flushing this all down the toilet for some lady on your staff? How beautiful could she possibly be? How dumb is that? And you say, well, James, you can't help who you fall in love with. Oh, dude, this isn't true love. This is a crazy person. If he was really in love with her, he wouldn't be trying to ruin her life and threaten her, I'm going to kill myself and the blood's going to be on your hands. If you're the father of 3, you don't say, I'm going to kill myself. I can't kill look, I have 4 kids. I can't kill myself. Not until my kids are grown, right? That would be immoral, unethical, irrational. Even if I was suicidal, even if I did want to end it, I would still at least stay alive for my kids. Not this guy. So you got to think, if he is crazy enough to be this stalkery type guy, if he is crazy enough to break into someone's house and threaten suicide and yell at him, and this is a guy who has fallen from such a great height that he just might do it. All right, this is the emotional exploitation of the 911 call on the James Show.
Subject just called the caller, told her there's a male at the location and the hound's attacking her. The state's been stalking her for months. For the Pittsfield unit's reference to domestic, we just got a call from S1's wife in Ann Arbor saying that the subject is suicidal, reference losing his job today.
All right, they have terrible 911 audio recording facilities in Michigan, but if you didn't understand that, the guy calling in, he's been stalking her for months. He's been stalking her for months. I can't believe I have to say this, but guys and girls, this applies to both of you. Don't stalk anybody. Don't do that. I would start with, don't cheat on your wife, but actually in my adulthood, I've seen too much, and some people have been in such weird situations. I'm not going to judge. Whatever. If you want to try and balance that circus yourself, it's probably going to end badly for you. I'd recommend against it. But here's a little tip of the pros. Even if you are in an affair, or maybe it's just a regular old consensual relationship, and they break up with you, don't kill yourself. Don't stalk them. Don't call them. Don't break into their house. Don't say you're going to have blood on your hands. Just move on. Move on. What is scaring her? Is that going to win her over? Are you cutting your throat and bleeding out in her kitchen? Is that really going to win her over? Is that really going to get you what you want? Of course not. If someone breaks up with you, just let them move on. So this guy, all he did was take a situation that was terrible, where he had gotten to the top of the football world. He's only 39 years old. He's the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, making over $6 million a year. He's never going to make that amount of money again for the rest of his life. And he knocked himself off the pedestal, because not only was he having an affair, but then he stalked her afterwards. And even if he stalks her, she goes to the university and he gets fired, that could be the end of the fall if he just stops there. He doesn't have to be in jail right now. He doesn't have to be facing charges. He doesn't have to be having a mental evaluation. Home Skillet spent most of this week in the jumpsuit that they put prisoners in. They didn't let him out because he's a suicide risk. And so you saw this guy who a couple of weeks ago was on the sideline wearing a headset, hoisting around a tablet, coaching the Michigan Wolverines. Now he's in a jumpsuit. He's been in a jumpsuit all week in shackles, just from a series of bad decisions. But make no joke about it. These stalker guys, they're the dangerous ones. You got to be super duper careful. If anyone's ever stalking you, take it real serious. And guys, I don't know. If you're a rational person, listen to me. Do not ever do this. It never works. Never has a guy stalked a girl and she's like, he won me over. I think I'll be with him now. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Yeah, I didn't know I had to say that. Didn't know I'd have to say men can't have babies either. Coming up next on The James Show, a Frisco Bobcat. It's News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. We're in the last day of the 38th annual Cumulus Kids Toy Drive. We're looking for monetary donations. We've got a ton of presents. They're filling up the conference room at the end of the hall right now. People are sorting them out by grades and ages and then by genders. And what we need now is monetary donations. I don't know where all these angels come from, these volunteers. They're going to do the work. They just need you to put up a few bucks. You got $20? Go to WBAP.com, the WBAP app, or text KIDS, KIDS, to 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Merry Christmas. Welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. We were just talking about the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. Not the head coach anymore. He got arrested. He spent most of the week in a jail jumpsuit. He had a hearing today. He got arraigned, got officially charged. And among the charges, stalking, assaults. Apparently he had an affair. He was married. There was another woman on his staff that he was seeing for 2 years, according to Sean Allen. She broke it off. He began stalking her. She went to the university. He got fired. In that crash out, he went to her house threatening to kill himself. Cops picked him up. The aristocrats. Steve in Fort Worth, you're on WBAP.
Yes, sir. 40 years in law enforcement. I worked dozens of those, and many of them turned into murder-suicides. I've been to quite a few of those. So the whole thing is, you're exactly right about the danger of a person who's willing to stalk you.
Yeah, and no one's ever stalked me, and I'm not to make light of it. Well, how come no one ever stalks me? I'm not saying that, but I've heard so many of these stories about the murder suicide that you mentioned, and it didn't really register with me, Steve, in Fort Worth, until they started showing up on social media. And so every once in a while, they're supposed to, filter that content out. But I think I saw one last week where there was a murder suicide. Not that I follow crazy accounts, but okay, maybe I follow some crazy accounts. But I forget, that people are even capable of such a thing. And I know that sounds like very naive, but I mean, I kind of am. We all suffer from projection a little bit. I don't know. I don't understand these guys. Like, if you love her, why would you ruin her life? If you love her, why would you kill her? If you love her, why would you scare the hell out of her by breaking into her house and threatening your own life? Like, it's so irrational. I just don't get it. Is there anything to get?
No, because it was irrational, because he knew he got fired, and what does he have at home? A wife and 3 kids.
That are going to hate him now.
Flipped him over. Well, that's his problem, So, but it's one of those things that it's really terrible the way that it can happen. And you can interview all the people you want after these things, and I would have never thought that. Yeah, well, here we are.
Well, some of these crazy people can be really successful in their career. That's one thing we learned. Thank you very much. That's Steve in Fort Worth. Hey, let me know if you see this bobcat in Frisco. I want one.
Frisco family is urging their neighbors to be alert this morning after their beloved dog was killed by a bobcat. Melissa and Paul Clark say their 4-year-old Maltese was attacked on November 29th, just after 9 o'clock in the morning, when a bobcat jumped their fence and took little Luna right in front of Melissa. They found her in a nearby bush. They took her to the hospital, but she did not make it. Wildlife experts say bobcats become more active in these cooler months, and expanding neighborhoods create easy pathways for them.
The bobcat jumps on the fence, then jumps in a tree and goes up. With Luna in her mouth.
Experts urge owners, if you do have a small pet, keep him on a leash and keep a watchful eye. The Clarks want more, though, calling for bobcats to be removed before another family feels this kind of grief.
Yeah, that should be a no-brainer, right? Can we just go kill the bobcats? On the other hand, they look so cute. I love them so much. They had pictures of 2 bobcats, and I don't know if this was the same bobcats that took the dog Luna. I don't celebrate the death of the dog. That's sad. But bobcats are cute. If you had a bobcat from birth, could you raise it and just keep it as a normal cat? If you're thinking, well, it's a wild animal, it might just go crazy on you one day. I don't know. You sure? Can I try it and let you know? Because really, I love the theory that all cats are just the same cat. Whether it's a bobcat, whether it's a house cat, whether it's my fat little orange tabby at home, or whether it's a lion on the savannah. They pretty much have a similar personality. And one of the reasons I like cats is because they are little killers. They are Jesus's little killing machines. And it kind of makes me, giggle that at some point, like sometimes when your cat gets mad at you, you can look in his eyes and you could say, right now, Alex would kill me if he was big enough. Do you see how he just tried to bite my foot? If he would have been a lion, that would have ripped my leg off. I would be bleeding out right here in the living room. And I think that's just adorable. But I see this story about the bobcats, and now I want a bobcat. All right, coming up next on the James Show, no more bobcat wish list. That's not happening. But we're going to play Name That Artist. Can you name can we go ahead and play the montage now? Do I have time for that? Is that a yes? All right, let's play the montage. And you're going to be playing for tickets to this Satch Vai show, which sounds awesome. 2 tickets to Satch Vai Band, Joe Satriani and Steve Vai, April 17th. Go. All right, so there's your montage. If you can name a few of those artists, you might get the tickets. If you can name all 10 and you're the first one I go to, you can get the tickets. Call 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. Christmas edition of Name That Artist next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hey, sports fans. James Parker here for the Prize Picks app. And this is the hottest time of football season. We have teams that are playing, trying to get into the playoffs. We have colleges that are getting ready for their bowl season. And here's the cool thing about daily fantasy sports. I remember playing the old traditional fantasy sports, and your season ended when the regular season ended. Not for Prize Picks. Whoever's left, you can go make your lineup every day. You can make different lineups. You can have multiple lineups on the same day. I actually did that just to see if I could, and it works. So the way it works is you go on the app, you go to your favorite sports, you look at your favorite teams, you look at the players that you know best, and you look at their statistic projections for tonight's game or tomorrow's game. And you find one that looks a little off and you pick more or less on it. Like if you think, oh, that's a little low, then you pick more. You're like, that's way too high. You pick less. You do that for 2 to 6 players. You can turn a little bit into a lot of bit, 2,000 times your money. So download the Prize Picks app, use promo code WBAP. You get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Download Prize Picks, use promo code WBAP. Take advantage, get $50 in lineups with your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Merry Christmas, fellow Texans. You're just in time for the Christmas edition of Name That Artist. I don't know. It might be the first Christmas edition. We might do Christmas again next week for Name That Artist. But we already have. Oh, no, look. We actually had some people drop off. So there's a couple lines open. We're playing for tickets to Satch Vai, the Satch Vai band featuring Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. They're on tour. It's called Surfing with the Hydra 2026 tour. They're going to be at the Music Hall at Fair Park April 17th. Regular people can go get tickets and information at livenation.com, but special people can call in right now and win. You people who are on hold, we're going to play the montage again. I want you to get out either a piece of paper and a writing utensil of some sort, and you can do it the old analog way, or you can put it on speaker, get your phone down, open a notepad file and type it in. So when I go to you, you can just read. For the rest of you, if you're trying to call in, 800-288-9227. How many of these artists can you name? There you go. Thank you for not putting Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer in the montage. And y'all, kudos to producer Garrett, the guy who makes Garrett's World. I think you got, what'd you get, 9 out of 10? I think you only missed the first one. He when we were in the pre-show meeting, he was just ripping them off, and I was impressed. I didn't know he would get that. I didn't know he would get Burl Eyes. I didn't get, I should stop saying the answers. To the phones we go. Kelly, Fort Worth. You're on WBAP. You ready for Name That Artist?
I'm ready.
All right, Kelly, let's go.
All right. I've got The Carpenters.
Yes.
Wham. Mariah Carey. Paul McCartney and Wings. The Eagles. Andy Williams. Burl Ives. Jimmy Durante. Alvin and the Chipmunks. And Brenda Lee.
Holy crap. That's a clean sweep, baby. Home run. So are you a fan of Satch Vai, Joe Satriani, Steve Vai?
I am. Yeah.
All right. Well, then I'll put you on hold. We'll get you the tickets. We just email them to you these days because it's 2026 and you're not going to come pick it up anyway. All right. Well, that is today's edition of Name That Artist. Thank you to all the people on hold. I'm sorry that you didn't even get a chance. Kelly came in and took it like a man. All right, I want to take a second here to address the loss in the WBAP family. A guy who was here for a long time. I remember when he was on WBAP. David Gold passed away. He was 75 years old. I worked with him briefly, not here at WBAP, but there was another AM station that's not even on the air anymore. It was on 990, and I only worked there for about 6 months. But they had picked up some of the old guys, and it was really cool because I got a chance to work with him. I got a chance to work with Mike McCarthy, Fish for Lunch. That was fantastic. I'm sorry, not Mike McCarthy. Kevin McCarthy. I'm saying the wrong names. It's been a long day. But he was a super nice guy. It was really cool that some guy that you heard for a long time, you get to work with him, even if it was just for a few months, and even if I wasn't on the same show in the same shift. But I noticed his son made a post on Facebook where he put a painting of David Gold that used to sit in that old studio. And so I didn't have a big part of his life. He didn't have a big part of mine, but we did cross paths. And now I'm sitting in a chair that he used to sit in on WBAP. And it's just something worth noting. You know, not all these guys that you hear on the radio are good guys behind the scenes. Some of them are jerks. Some of them I'll never memorialize. He was a good one. All right, coming up next, have you heard of this myth of the regretful Trump voter? I don't know where this fantasy's coming from, but we'll dig into that next on The James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Somewhere in a lair hiding with Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster is the mythical Trump voter with regret. I'm James Parker, News Talk 829.33 FM WBAP, your home for Markley, Van Camp, and Robbins. And in today's edition of I Hate Trump fan fiction, check out this viral video of a girl. She's talking about someone you've never met. Do you know one person who voted for Trump and now regrets it? Do you know one person? Let me put it like this. Do you know one person in 2024 who voted for Trump and now regrets it? Because I keep seeing people address this person, but I don't think this person exists. And by the way, this poor little girl cusses so much, I literally ran out of beeps and I had to use the fart button for the end of this, but you'll hear.
You know, I really think it's funny when people regret who they voted for. I think it's hilarious because it's almost like we told you guys. It's almost like we told you guys. Nothing's gotten cheaper. Nothing's going to get cheaper. Nothing's gotten better. Nothing's going to get better. The only thing that face being in the office has done has made extremely racist and hateful and disgusting ass people very bold. And I just think it's hilarious when y'all around and find out. When y'all sit here and y'all spread nothing but hate and racism and and you get put in your place and then suddenly you want to play the victim. That's hilarious to me. When y'all want to, when, you know, y'all's food stamps are getting cut off and y'all are sitting here, well, I didn't vote for this. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. We told you like this was going to happen, and you didn't want to listen. So, have fun. Hope voting for somebody on the Epstein list was worth it.
I love that. Listen to how angry and upset she is. This is what you get. Found out. Playing the victim. Are you playing the victim? I'm not playing the victim. Sean, are you playing the victim? I don't feel like a victim. Who is saying they're a victim? Who's acting like a victim? Is Sean Hannity saying, oh, I regret voting for Trump? I missed that. Is anybody on Fox News saying, oh, God, I regret voting for Trump? No. Anybody in talk radio? Oh, boy, I sure do regret voting for Trump. I'm sure there's some rhino out there, some Lincoln Project guys or some neocons out there, the Nikki Haley wing of the Republican Party. I mean, maybe, but I don't even know any of those people. Those people really only exist in the upper echelons of power. Because you don't know a whole lot of Republicans like that, if any. Do you know any? Can you name one Republican? Your dad, your brother, your old college roommate? Do you know one person that regrets voting for Trump last year? Like the things that happened today, like, oh, this just... Do you know one Trump voter who was upset about food stamps being cut off for, 3 weeks? Ooh, whoop-de-doo. I didn't hear any of that griping. I didn't hear that from any... I work on this platform where I'm surrounded by people who voted for Trump and none of them regret it. Anybody on the morning show regret voting for Trump? Have you heard that? Who are you talking about? Ted Nugent? Who? It's just amazing. And I figured out what this is. This is fan fiction. This is what they want to believe. This is because it's got to be real difficult, the cognitive dissonance that happens when this is your worldview and then you go into the real world. Okay, so why are they not agreeing with me? It must be racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. And if you're starting on that irrational foundation, these are the irrational conclusions you're going to come to. Here's another one. Here's another little fan fiction fantasy world that keeps floating around my social media. This idea that Trump is done. Like Trump is collapsing and the walls are closing in. And here's James Carville.
We got to stop looking at him as some kind of political Svengali or political Houdini or anything like that. He's done. We just got to butter this toast and slice it and eat it. He's done. He's good. He's done in Florida. He's done in Pennsylvania. He's done in New Jersey. He's done in Virginia.
Well, he is done in those places because he don't have to run there again. Why do they keep saying this? They have been saying this since 2015, maybe 2016 at the latest. Bro, you can't do that for 10 years. He's done. Look, later in, a couple of interviews before that on his little podcast.
You're absolutely right. The more the walls close in on him, the more dangerous that he gets.
Well, I'll just stop right there. The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. Look, we're going to go back in time here. An outlet called Grabien made what I call the bombshell montage. After the first 18 months of Trump's presidency, they had predicted that he would go to prison, that the walls are closing in, like Carville just said. There's another bombshell report. It's the beginning of the end. This is a tipping point. This was the first 18 months of his first term. So this is all audio from 2016, 2017, and a little bit from 2018. So the earliest or the latest audio here is 7 years old, if not older. Has he gone down? Has he gone to prison? Have the walls closed in? Has he collapsed?
Breaking news, a new bombshell.
One astrologer says this means the beginning of the end for President Donald Trump.
The beginning of the end of the Trump presidency. Trump will resign.
Trump is going to resign.
Is this the tipping point? I know we've said it over and over.
You think this is a tipping point?
And over and over.
This is a tipping point.
And over and over.
Breaking news, President Trump off the rails.
It was the beginning of the end today.
The beginning of the end. It reminds me a lot of the last days of Nixon. Breaking news tonight, new bombshell. This is the beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The walls are closing in.
The walls closing in.
The wall's closing in.
Breaking overnight bombshell.
This is a very dramatic day, and I think it might be near a tipping point. Do you think this is a tipping point?
This is unbelievable. This is remarkable. Have you ever seen anything like this?
His presidency is crippled.
December 1st, 2017, you can mark it down. This is the day that everything changed.
We begin with the bombshell. The beginning of the end?
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end. The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
The beginning of the end.
In fact, if this were a football game, we're in the third quarter. May even be the beginning of the end. We begin tonight with the bombshell. Donald Trump is in a lot of trouble. Trump is in trouble.
The president will resign.
Another hour, another bombshell.
This is a tipping point.
Trump's going down.
This president could be impeached.
I do not think the president will serve out his term. Resignation. I don't think this president is going to serve out his term. Mr. Trump will not serve out his term. He will not serve out his term. No way. No how. Breaking news, an absolute bombshell. I think Donald Trump is in trouble.
Donald Trump is not. He's done. And it's over.
It's over.
The wall's closing in.
The wall's closing in.
This is going to be the Achilles heel. Breaking news tonight, I expect Trump to depart. This week will be the watershed week. Trump is in big trouble.
Trump's in a lot of trouble.
It's a sign of a terrified old man.
Can you imagine being told this 10 years ago over and over and over? And now in the future, not only is he still in office, he's going to be there till 2029. Eric in College Station, you're on WBAP. Go.
Hey, yeah, I think Trump isn't doing enough. You know, the H-1B stuff, immigration, now doing the Trump gold card, basically selling American citizenships for what was billed as $5 million to only select few. Now it's $1 million to pretty much anybody, as well as corporations. You know, shipping out jobs to India. Look at Dallas. It's basically India. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Sending $800 million to Ukraine when he said the war would be over in a day. Sending $400 million to Israel.
All right, I'd like to point out that, Eric, I'm sorry, we're out of time. It's the end of the show. All your complaints are coming from the right. Not that, he cut my food stamps or whatnot. You just think he hadn't done enough. He hadn't been right-wing enough. Now, that I hear a lot of. That's something I say. He hadn't balanced the budget yet. I'm not real happy with him. But not, oh my goodness, I can't believe he's racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. Thank you very much, Eric. All right, that's going to do it for the James Show. Mark Levin's coming up next on News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP.